Raila Odinga in this quest for his AUC commission job. I'm going to be telling you exactly what the points are and where the strengths and weaknesses for his campaign are this morning on the Morning Drift with a panel that is going to join us in the studio shortly. On top of that, we do have news for you that just right here next to where we are at Lookuptv studios, a building collapsed yesterday at Udero, next or opposite to Ilri. Indeed, every other person in that building was accounted for, which essentially goes on to stress what the effects of the continuing rain has essentially done to the country. As we speak, the government is concerned that indeed there are going to be waterborne diseases that are going to be essentially following these rains that are belting various parts of the country. As we speak today, majority parts of the country this morning are experiencing rainfall, and the Met Department says that we have to continue to be ready for these rains for the rest of this month. How this goes when this ends, only thing that we're going to do is recount on the damages and destruction to property and disruption to lives that the current rains will cause in the country. We take a look at that this morning. Also, on top of that, what we're going to look at is the ongoing impeachment hearing in the National Assembly of one Mithika Linturi. How that goes as well, we have our eyes on it, and we shall be reporting on it when and how we have the details. The hashtag is the Morning Drift. We come back with a newspaper review. Let's jump into our review this morning, and I'm going to start with the Daily Nation. It's talking about a floods plague cholera outbreak. A state confirms 34 cases. There's also 6 dead in North Rift as floods wreak havoc. There are also demolitions in city slums, but none in Wolvie suburbs. And King Charles III empathizes with Kenyans and President RUTO over the crisis. We're going to bring that story heavily on page 6 and 7 of the Daily Nation this morning. And on our website on www.lookuptv.co.ke, we continue to highlight the effects of these rains. There's the housing levy story. Kere goes after landlords and small businesses. You're going to read that story on the back page. And on page 12, Linturi trial starts. Member of Parliament fears for his life, and the National Cereals and Produce Board boss fails to stop his arrest over the fake fertilizer saga. Story on page 12. Let's then look at other stories here. Online learning, class divide between academies and public schools. That 32 billion is the amount of money that the government had spent to equip public primary schools with tablets, laptops, projectors and routers, as well as connecting them to the national grid. You're going to read that story on page 4. Story here on a pastor who's getting questioned over 600 million fake foreign jobs scam. You're going to read that story on page 3. Also here on page 2, review outdated defilement law, demand activists. Also on page 2 as well. On the back page, again, is that story for landlords that are essentially going for small traders and over the housing levy matters. Good. We cross over then to the Standard this morning, where indeed there is a food crisis that is looming. Food shortage fears after flood sweep through nation's agricultural heartlands, destroying food reserves and thousands of acres of crop and damaging irrigation systems, exposing Kenyans to high prices and steep losses. You're going to read that story right here on the Standard. There's also a story here on tea farms sell stake to farmers, and Mount Kenya Power rivalry grows as Korea joins the fray. Good. That's exactly what it is on the Standard this morning. On the back pages, we're going to read about how Madrid must improve to overcome Bayern in Champions League, essentially after Dortmund sent out PSG yesterday. Good. We take a tiny breather once we come back straight to our newsroom. Right, welcome back. Bungoma County has recorded a 28% prevalence of malaria cases burdening health facilities. A report by the Ministry of Health has indicated that mothers and children are the most affected, with a spike in cases that are associated with climate change. Sonia Njeri with a report this morning.
Bungoma County has been put on high alert due to the spread of malaria, reported to be at 28% compared to 19.2% nationally. Moses Wambusi, the coordinator of malaria prevention mosquito net distribution, has emphasized the importance of combating the disease, pointing out that a large number of affected people are mothers and children. Wambusi has also urged Kenyans to ensure that they are registered to receive this mosquito net. He has further appealed to residents to prioritize environmental hygiene, adding that climate change has significantly increased the spread of malaria.
Utapata kwanza wale watu ambao wameathirika sana ni wamama wajawazito, watoto wachanga, wazee na wale ambao kinga ya mwili yao pia imedhoofika kwa njia moja ama njia nyingine. Na kwa ujumla tutakuwa na nets 1.2 million ambazo tutadistribute Bungoma County. Na lengo la kudistribute hizi nets ni kwa sababu Bungoma ni mojawapo ya counties katika hii region ya Lake Endemic, ambapo ugonjwa wa malaria uko kwa viwango vya juu. Ukiangalia prevalence ya Bungoma na kulingana na survey iliyofanywa mwaka wa 2010, unapata all the endemic the 8 lake endemic region, Bungoma ikiwemo, ni 19.2%. Na ukishuka chini ukuje katika Bungoma County yenyewe, unapata the prevalence rate ya Bungoma County kwa upande wa malaria ni 28%. Kwa hivyo ukiangalia kiwango cha Bungoma hata kinazidi region mzima. Na ndiposa hiyo ndio nafanya sasa tuanze kuweka mikakati tofauti ya kuweza kufanya nini, ya kupeana net kwa community ili tuweze kupunguza hiyo prevalence rate ishuke chini. Mabadiliko ya climate change, hiyo maneno ya climate change inachangia kwa vyovyote, kwa sababu tukikuwa na mvua mingi kama kwa hii kipindi ambacho tuko wa sasa, tuna mafuriko, kumaanisha kuna maji mengi, na vile mnapoelewa ni kwamba umbu wanazalia kwenye maji, wanapenda environment ambapo kuna maji.
Jasmine Maina, Lookuptv.
Stakeholders in the production, sale and consumption of tobacco products called for differentiation in regulations since some smoking products have been approved to be harmless, unlike the combative cigarette. In a public participation forum at the Kenya School of Government in Embu, the stakeholders gave their views on the proposed changes by the Ministry of Health to reduce its consumption. Let's take a look.
The Kenya School of Government in Embu played host to a public participation forum with representatives from various sectors involved in the production, sale and use of tobacco products present. The Ministry of Health has put forward a proposal to implement measures aimed at curbing the health effects of tobacco.
I do agree that when I look at cigarettes specifically, given the risky profile of the product as a result of the intoxicants that come from the combustion of the product, graphic health warnings are appropriate for the category.
The stakeholders further discussed the proposed changes aimed at reducing health risk associated with tobacco consumptions. They suggested that there should be a warning that is more effective in communicating health risk associated with tobacco use, especially a pictorial warning, which they suggested should be enlarged.
We must start engaging in the conversation of harm reduction, especially targeting those people who use tobacco in this country. Some of the images we have seen are inappropriate, especially culturally. Some of them depict a lot of nudity, and we are calling upon these images to be aligned to our cultural beliefs and practices as a Kenyan society. And we also said that some of the images need to be backed by evidence. Otherwise, we cannot use images just for the purposes of scaring people and deterring them from using these products. It must be factual.
Manufacturing companies, along with some sellers and consumers, argued that certain warning measures lack scientific evidence to support their validity. Stakeholders further called for different regulations, emphasizing that not all smoking products pose the same level of harm. They urged that authorities to consider alternative products that have been proven to be less harmful than traditional combustible cigarettes.
Then imagine yourself being like that.
Stephanie Gugu, Lookuptv.
Moving on this morning, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi has said that the ties between Kenya and Somalia will be anchored on strong communal bonds that strengthen our bilateral relations driven by goodwill and determination. He spoke at the third session of the Kenya-Somalia Joint Commission for Cooperation held in Nairobi.
Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, while at the third session of Kenya-Somalia Joint Commission for Cooperation (JCC), has stated that Kenya will continue fostering good relations with Somalia in all areas of mutual interest to advance the socio-economic development for the two countries.
This joint commission is one of the most robust bilateral cooperation arrangements. Since the last JCC and several high-level engagements, I appreciate that both countries have made strides in implementing a number of resolutions.
Mudavadi, who is also Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, has lauded all those who were involved to have set the parameters on the conduct and promotion of the bilateral relations, adding that resolutions arising out of the session will serve our motivation for the finalization and signing of the pending draft instruments.
That the resolutions arising out of this session of the JCC will serve as motivation for the finalization and signing of the pending draft instruments, as well as an inspiration to further solidify bilateral cooperation for the mutual benefit of the people of our two countries.
Minister of Foreign Affairs Somalia Ahmed Moualem has applauded the strong relations built between Kenya and Somalia, saying that it has fostered strong ties between the nations. Ahmed also added that it will demonstrate a mutual commitment to collaborate and extend hands to address both political, social, and economic developments.
Somalia and Kenya have a long-standing history of bilateral relations dating back to the inception of both nations. It is an example that distinguished presence of His Excellency Hamza Abdi Barre, the Prime Minister of the Federal Government of Somalia, whose visit underscores the importance we place.
Shamila Baraza, Lookuptv.
Kenyans have been urged to prioritize saving as a means to bolster the nation's economic prosperity. Speaking on the launch of the 2023-2027 National Social Security Fund NSSF Corporate Strategic Plan, Prime CS Musalia Mudavadi stressed the importance of cultivating a culture of saving to drive economic transformation. He highlighted the negative effects of excess income consumption and underscored the need for a paradigm shift towards savings.
In a significant step to new path and prosperity, the National Social Security Fund NSSF has launched Corporate Strategic Plan 2023-2027. Speaking at the launch, the Prime Cabinet Secretary commended the commitment of all NSSF team who are working hard to shape the future of the organization and Kenyans.
The strategic plan underlines the commitment of the entire NSSF team, whose efforts have been instrumental in shaping the future trajectory of your organization and that of Kenyans.
As the NSSF launches its corporate strategic plan, it sets a high standard for social security providers, driven by core values and a vision of trust and reliability. Exciting times are coming for members as they strive for excellence and financial security. Cabinet Secretary for Labor and Social Protection also emphasized on how NSSF has played a crucial role by providing a platform for everyone to save for their retirement.
NSSF has played a crucial role over the last 6 decades by providing a platform for every Kenyan worker to save for their retirement. The fund has made significant strides in improving access to social security benefits and has continued to adapt and evolve to meet the changing needs of the Kenyan workers and employers in the 21st century.
The fund, however, has made a giant leap over the years and made the changing needs of the workers as time goes by. The strategic plan prioritizes empowering members to achieve financial security through prudent investments and value-adding solutions, with a focus on being the trusted social security provider as they aim to deliver exceptional value. Majid Hussein, Lookuptv.
Traders in Ahero Town in Kisumu County are counting losses after River Nyando burst its banks following a heavy downpour. Elsewhere in Kirinyaga County, families have been urged to relocate to higher grounds to avert disaster. George Kayesi with a flood watch across the country.
This has been the situation for the better part of the day after River Nyando burst its banks, taking control of the town. In the midst of the devastating situation, business owners in this region, along with thousands of Kenyans from various parts of the country, bore the brand of Mother Nature posed by the prolonged rainy season.
I work here. Here is my shop. This water came here yesterday at around 2 p.m. when we were here. Madhara yenye nimepata, everything inside is full of water. We can't work inside there. I have 4 machines. They are full of water, clothes, school uniforms which we made inside there. They are all full of water.
Concerns are mounting regarding the potential collapse of buildings in flood-affected areas of the town, reflecting the growing anxiety among residents about structural integrity amidst the deluge.
Shida kubwa kabisa ambayo tuko naye hapa ni kuhusu hizi manyumba zetu. Unajua maji kikaa kwa nyumba hii muda yote inaweza bomoka. Sasa ile ofu tumekuwa nayo sana ni hizi manyumba kubomoka.
Calls are being made to the government to implement a sustainable solution to address the recurrent flooding crisis in the region.
What I can tell the government is to look how they can prevent this water so that next time it can't affect us like this. And that's what I can tell the governments, to help us so that this they control it. So next time when it comes, it doesn't affect us too much.
In Kirinyaga County, more than 2,000 families have been compelled to leave their homes due to severe flooding caused by heavy rainfall. Kirinyaga County Commissioner Hussein Alaso has advised residents living in flood-prone regions to consider moving to higher grounds to avoid potential risk.
Karibu familia 2,000 wameweza kuathirika, lakini hakuna wale wako ambao kwa kambi la wameweza wengine wametoka baada ya maji kusubside, wameweza kurudi makwao, lakini kuna watu wachache ambao bado wanaishi na majirani yao na pia katika na familia wengine, na hao bado tunaendelea kumonitor na pia tunaendelea kuwasaidia.
After a week of adversity, emergency responders successfully rescued a 74-year-old man who was stranded perilously close to flood waters. Nyolongeti found himself encircled by flood waters from Athi River while keeping watch of livestock on Daini Island in Wamonyo. He was later rescued and transported to a hospital for medical attention.
Nilisobewa ni maji pale kwa Kidhama, na maji ikawa mingi kwa wiki mzima. Kule nilikuwa nalisha ng'ombe. Nilikuwa nalisha kwa siku mingi, si moja ama wiki moja ama mwaka moja, ni miaka mingi, lakini maji yakuwa namna hiyo.
George Kayesi, Lookuptv.
Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki said the government will cater for the funeral expenses of those who perished in the Mayu flash floods. Speaking in Kijabe, Kiambu, Kindiki further directed immediate evacuation of all residents living downstream on the path of storm waters. Ian Kesani now filed.
9 days after the flash floods tragedy in Mahiu, Nakuru County, where the tens of families are mourning their loved ones, the national government is set to foot the funeral expenses of those who lost their lives as the search for more bodies continues.
And the government will take the responsibility of meeting the funeral expenses of all the families who have already retrieved and received their loved ones. We will support the families so that we share with them the pain. And tomorrow, for those who are affected, we will be able to have a general mass service to remember the souls of our departed countrymen and women.
This comes amid the death toll rising to 61 with various families still unaware of where their loved ones are, as Martha Wanjiku narrates.
Kuanzia hiyo siku tumekuwa tukitafuta ndugu yetu, brother-in-law. Yeye alikuwa tu kwa nyumba na nyumba zote zilienda. Hakuna kitu libaki, mawe zikaenda, everything. Yani nikaa tu mchanga ya kawaida, hakuna mtu alibaki hapo. So juu alikuwa ndani na majirani wenye wako hospitali, juu wenye hawako hospitali wamekufa, wanatuambia walimuona masaa ya jioni akiingia kwa nyumba. Tena ile kitu inafanya tujue hakika hayuko, yeye mwenyewe ndiye angekuwa anatutafuta juu pia yeye anajua maybe tungekuwa kwa hiyo hali. Lakini ana simu yake ikatrakiwa, ikaonekana ilizimia tu hapo kwa hiyo area.
The same is the situation with Mary Wanjiku's family.
Wakati maji ilikuja, tulibebwa, mimi nikaswim kwa maji, nikaenda nikajitokelezea pahali. Wakati nilijitokelezea hapo, nikasimama tu hapo. Nikiwa nimesimama tu nikaona mtu amekuja, nikamuita, tukaongea, nikamuulizia watu hao wako wapi, akaniambia hajui, na mimi nikamwambia watoto wangu sijui pahali wako, lakini tulikuwa tumebebwa pamoja na watoto wangu watatu. Lakini wawili wameonekana na mmoja hajapatikana.
The families are now calling on the government to expedite the search for the bodies of their loved ones.
So tungeomba tu serikali tusaidie, tupate huyo mpendwa wetu. Juu hakika hata jirani yetu tu hapo bado hajapatikana.
Serikali inisaidie nipate huyo mtoto, hata kama amesaa aga, nitashukuru tu Mungu. Nataka tu nijue pahali yako.
Ian Keitani, Lookuptv.
President William RUTO has promised to ensure that a 46.5 billion shillings World Bank loan will be well utilized for urban development. Speaking as he launched the second phase of the Kenya Urban Support Program, RUTO called on county governors to rethink how to grow their own sources of revenue to help spur development in their counties, noting that the money being offered by the World Bank for the project is a loan that must be repaid.
There is no doubt that climate change will continue to pose mounting challenges to our development and serious threats to human health and safety, especially in urban areas where 60% of residents live in informal settlements. I say this statement of 60% with a very heavy heart, because informal settlements, ladies and gentlemen, are very unhygienic, very indecent livelihoods where Kenyans live. And we must do whatever it takes, using the resources we have. The resources we have under COSEP will help us do planning. These resources will help us deal with stormwater, will help us deal with sewage, will help us deal with lighting, will help us deal with titling and organizing our informal settlements. And our housing plan will help us have decent homes for these Kenyans. We have close to 7 million people in Kenya living in informal settlements, and they deserve our attention. The focus on the most vulnerable through building climate resilience for the urban poor is very commendable, and I will be looking out specifically for municipalities, cities and towns that are keen on making sure that we support the urban poor.
So here's the state of politics in the country, other than the floods that we're talking about. I'll give you just a slight update that just next to us, there is a building that collapsed yesterday at Udhiru next to Ilri. The county of Nairobi essentially have said that they looked into the issue and have solved it. There are 5-story building that collapsed in Nairobi's Mountain View Ward, Westland Sub-County along Naivasha Road near the International Livestock Research Institute, Ilri. The 4 missing persons include, as of 10 p.m., all the families except 4 persons were accounted for. The 4 missing persons included a nanny and 2 children from one household, as well as a 10-year-old girl from another residence. The father of the girl arrived to the scene and informed the respondents the girl was home alone. As of this time, rescuing efforts continued, and the Nairobi County government had mobilized special equipment. Further updates were supposed to be provided in a due course. The reason as to why there was this collapse is still unknown, and detailed investigations will commence today. That's exactly what they say, but we do know that indeed it could be the effects of rainfall that have pelted the various parts of the country. But away from that then, we do know that Raila Odinga essentially faces a lot of competition from other contenders to the AUC position. What we do know that Somalia will endorse the nomination of Miss Fazuya Yusuf Adam for the chairperson of the African Union Commission for the period 2025-2028. There is also this followed a statement of a preparatory meeting of foreign ministers for the 15th session of the OAC Islamic Summit Conference held in Banjul, Gambia, on May 2nd and 3rd, that focused on promoting unity and solidarity through dialogue for sustainable development. So you can see exactly how this particular position is going on. But even locally, Raila Odinga has been told or has been cautioned as one who's not doing good for his particular position because he's been hitting the president who is supposed to come in and help him campaign. Let's talk about this morning, including cases of one Mithika Linturi, all the way to the state's response to the flooding situation in the country. My name is Simbalaji Charles. Can I get this? Is Lookuptv.
Once again, tuko hapa Angel Center for Abandoned Kids, all because of you.
My name is Catherine Wanjiru. I am the admin, Angel Center for Abandoned Children. Our founder is Wamaitha Mwangi. We currently have 64 children, 32 going to school, and among those 32, 2 are special children, and we are left at the home with 32. Now the toddlers and the infants. To the Loto Foundation, thank you so much for remembering us. Guys, we lack words. We lack words. Amazing. We don't know what to say. Thank you for remembering us. You made a promise and you have delivered. And may God bless you. To my fellow Kenyans, as usual, cheza Loto, sio ndoto. Angel Center tumeshinda Loto.
Every time you play Lotto, 25% goes to the Lotto Foundation, which supports our fellow Kenyans through various causes. Thank you for your help. Together, we are changing lives.
Save a Life is a non-profit organization that has taken the front line in transforming lives in the entire country. So far, we have transformed life of over 100,000 people through our programs, which include medical support, youth empowerment, street family program, feeding program, and climate change. Join us today as we transform lives. As we always say, service to humanity is service to God. Save a life, transforming lives.
So this is how we create an art piece.
Some say it's organized chaos, while others say it is a way of survival. For Alex Kamanjiri, art is an avenue to say what he would have otherwise lacked words to express. Like many artists, it took an outsider to make him realize his knack for the arts.
First of all, it did not start like a dream. It was a lie. Yeah. When I was in high school in Form 2, I drew a portrait of an old man smoking, and my friends lied to me that it was really nice. And I believed in the lie, and I started practicing slowly. YouTube, most of my skills I've learned from YouTube, and soon enough I became good. I became that good.
In line with the legendary 10,000 hours rule, Alex says he has put in the work and is certainly on his way to achieve true expertise. He reminisces proudly the first time he earned from this trade.
Okay, yeah, it was a portrait of an old madam. Yeah, she wanted me to draw her. Then I remember it was a small A3 size piece. Yeah, it was really nice. It was a really high pressure because once you're used to drawing just for yourself and you're being given a commission for the first time, there's a lot of pressure in your head. Not because you're good, because you think you want to put your best into it. So
at the sound of art, many people think of a drawing, but rarely do we think of bids on an art piece.
I used to do portraits, a lot of portraits using pencil. And in the gallery that I exhibit, I saw a piece by a lady called Christine Okuma. I've never met her. I would love to meet her one day. It was a mixed media art. It was a kitenge and some beads. Yeah, if I'm right, yeah. So some triangular abstract work. And an idea popped up. So why don't I mix these beads and the portraits that I make? Let me try out. And then I tried out, and the response from my friends and the people who love my work are like, yeah, you should try this ball.
Wood, glue, beads, pencils, just to name a few of the tools required. The process can be demanding.
It depends with the size and also the size of the beads that you're using. Yeah, and also the intricacies, because there are some more detailed artworks than others.
When swamped with work, Alex retreats because time is an essential part of the craft.
And we start by sketching the piece. And this piece is already sketched and it's already painted. So the reason as to why we paint before is because the beads has holes. And the holes, if the background is different from the image, it will create a different effect. So you have to paint the background first. And let's do a part that we've already painted. Let's start by this part here. So you start by placing the wood glue. We use wood glue because it's on plywood. Make sure it does not spread. Slowly take your time. And then after that, normally I use a biro, but you put the beads first. You don't just spread, but you can also use something that has a sharp tip, like this, by placing it and arranging it slowly. First you start with the edges, move them slowly.
After all the time, energy and creativity, it's no wonder why art pieces are deemed expensive.
I'm doing my own project. Most of the time it might be more expensive because it's my own project. But there's some images that I just create that I sell at a reasonable price, depending on the size and the intricacies, the details and stuff. For example, the A3s, most of the time they range between 5 to 12K. So the A3s, this ones. This is an A3. And as we go up, the money goes up.
With art galleries steadily becoming popular around Nairobi, this 21-year-old artist is keen on penetrating the market.
Currently, I'm exhibiting at a gallery in Karen, Waterfront Mall. It's called the UM Gallery. And on Saturdays, I take my works to a market. It's called Organic Farmers Market. Yeah, it's also in Karen, around Karen area, Marula Lane. That's where currently I'm getting most of my sales, the gallery and the market. But also I get from people from IG, from the net. They reach out if they want portraits or if they like what I've posted and they want to buy, they also contact me there.
For 2 years now in the beaded art world, his inspiration comes from everyday life experiences, emotions, and the power of observation.
Sometimes it comes in words, sometimes it comes in images. So I have to write things down. I have a diary where I write my ideas from.
As an artist, Alex hopes the pieces he makes will capture a moment in time. But many times, the complexities that exist within the art world are a handful.
I can say it's a risk to some extent, because you never know. You never know if you're going to earn from it or not. So by taking that risk, because Kenya art is not as appreciated as other countries.
Youth Affairs, Arts and Sports Cabinet Secretary Babu Namwamba has been on a mission to revive the art scene in the country, which has for years not yielded much for the creatives. For Alex, the culture should be inculcated in our everyday life.
Just let the artist be. Because me, I can say I was blessed to have a father who accepted me as an artist. Like, he was like, this is a statement he actually said, as long as you're not killing or stealing, you do your thing. That's what he said.
With the hope of one day being his own boss, consistency is his gospel.
They say that art is the journey of a free soul. And for Alex Kamanjiri, he's only just beginning to explore the colors and turn the chaos into beautiful pieces. Nancy Nalima, Lookuptv, Kowinda Karen, Nairobi.
Fikra zao ni picha ya yale waliyaona na simulizi ingali moyoni.
Kijana wangu ndiye akaja kanigongea mlango akaniambia, mama amka, maji imekuja na imefika kwa nyumba ya kina Vini.
Kufungua mlango nikapata maji imeshafika hapo kwa mlango yangu.
Hii ndio moja kati ya shule ambazo wakazi ambao wameathirika vikali na mvua inaendelea kunyesha wameweza kujisitiri, na wengi wao wameishi hapo kwa muda sasa.
Kinachowaponda zaidi ni kuwa bado hawajapata makao. Wanakoishi kwa muda tu wameagizwa kuondoka. Watakwenda wapi?
Contractor anataka kuendelea na kazi hapa. Kwa hivyo ananiambia tujipange, tunataka kutoka hapa. Hatujajua pa kuenda. Juu hatuna pesa, hatuna mbele wala nyuma. Sasa hatujui tutafanya aje.
Na iwapo watatoka, serikali iweze kuona ni vyema iweze kuwatoa sehemu hii na kupeleka sehemu bora zaidi.
Haya ni kwa mujibu wa bunge la wenyeji saa 2 kamili. Start your day with a workout routine, an exciting moment of exercise that is simple but powerful for your ultimate fitness. Build your strength, shape and body muscles with lunges, push-ups, squats, burpees, planks, dumbbells and more. Let's work out every Monday to Saturday from 6:30 a.m. on Fitness Zone, a one surefire way to attack your fitness regimen effectively.
As the night falls, we come to life to bring you a comprehensive broadcast from the numerous events happening across our 47 counties.
When it breaks, it matters, and each story is important.
If it's Thursday, join me, Nancy Nalima, and my able panelists as we break down the law jargons and analyze the Constitution in a way only you can understand.
The news cycle never stops, neither does time. We cover each and every sector and present to you factual and accurate occurrences. This is where facts win the day. Join me,
Nancy Nalima,
Ian Keitani, Tuesday, every Wednesday,
Thursday,
as from 9 p.m. on The Insight, only on Lookuptv.
Tech is in everything, medicine, engineering, even in the TV and radio, it's everywhere.
Data and technology runs the world. It is the future. And at the center of all the revolution is women and girls. Code by code, they are breaking barriers, seeking to reduce the gender digital divide. History is being written in the 21st century, and women this time round are on the decision-making table, standing up to be counted, holding their future in their hands.
I do software engineering, power platform development.
I'm a data scientist because I've always loved math growing up, and I've always been very interested in tech stuff, like learning how things work. So I feel like data science brings them both together because you get to code and you get to do the math.
Part-time job was data entry, and I fell in love with data.
Technology is taking the world by storm, with governments eager to tap into the latest innovation to drive their countries forward. With new innovations every other day, one thing still remains a challenge: the digital gender divide. And though through a microscope, the efforts of women to take center stage are being magnified as they fight for an equal playing field by breaking one binary at a time. Only 23% of sub-Saharan Africa's tech industry is composed of women. Less than 10% of female students pursue STEM-related fields. A 2021 study titled Kenya's Digital Economy, A People's Perspective, shows that only 35% of women were found to be able to use advanced digital services, despite the country being ranked among the leading lights in broadband connectivity in Africa. However, a new dawn is beckoning. Meet young minds who are defying stereotypes and shattering glass ceilings. These girls are the driving force behind a movement that is changing the narrative. From coding to data analysis, these girls are showing the world that they belong in the tech and sciences. Daisy, a geospatial engineering student at the University of Nairobi, has a future cut out for her in the technology space.
So in everything that you do, you need a community behind you. And in the software engineering space, the bugs that you get, the challenges that you have, the people who you'll meet at events, they're all from this community. What I do in my community is I am a champion. I champion for community events, for hackathons, boot camps, and I try as much to support communities, even outside the tech roles that I do here.
Getting in the tech space for her, like many other women, was no mean feat, but she was influenced by a woman in the field.
So there was a dinner at Strathmore. It was celebrating women in tech for International Women's Day. They are listening to the stories by these amazing women who are just like me, who are very young, and they've done incredible things. And they face the same challenges I'm facing, so there's nothing that's too different between them and me. So everything, that just shows how it's very possible to get to where they are.
Do you see a politician?
Women in Data is a field that Philomena Mbura wants to rule as a data analyst.
I didn't even know there's a field called data science. So I got into tech through a program called GADS. It's Google Africa Developer Scholarship. And then now through that program, I got to do Android development. And then now I got into the tech community. I was interacting with one of the HRs, and then she asked me about my background and all these things. And then she told me you should look into people analytics. So people analytics is basically data analytics now in HR. Then now when I went into people analytics, I started looking at online courses, and then I went into data. Then I was like, oh, this is interesting. That's when I pivoted fully to data.
Philomena has been organizing workshops for women in data. Her mission is to bridge the digital divide and encourage more women and girls to take up their rightful space.
Tech is generally male-dominated, and so I've always felt that gap even when I'm either working in a team or when I attend community events. I remember my first event to attend, I was the only lady. The other lady was one of the organizers, and it was a room full of men. So at that point you're like, okay, maybe there is a problem here. So the more I attended events is when I saw like there is that gap, and then that's when now I made the intentional efforts to reaching out to actually not even women locally. I went on Google and searched for like communities outside there that are doing that, and then I partnered with them to come and bring it here.
And as they take to the podium with their heads high to demonstrate to others as their hands dance across keyboards, lines of code transform into bridges of opportunity. Every key they press creates a bridge for others to use in crossing over to the world of tech and sciences. These girls are not just future tech leaders, they are the architects of a brighter, more inclusive digital future.
It's data that informs policy. So yeah, let me be the person here at the bottom helping to feed the national policy, the huge one, because it's this data that will show you, hey, you need to change this this is not us, this is what the data shows.
I get a lot of satisfaction from seeing people's lives changing positively. I personally got into tech through community, like I mentioned before, so I know what it did for me, and I can only hope that I can be able to create a space where it does that for others as well.
Team and I, we came up with an application. It's called Mama Nafuu application, where it enables mothers to connect with everything that they need, literally in the reach of their hands. So on the app, they can schedule their appointments. They can also order for medicine.
Their story is inspirational. Dreams that started when they were young and were cultivated by those around them.
Actually, largely, my mentors have been men in the industry. Yeah, actually, they have been very supportive. I have met a lot of men who have literally held my hand.
My parents are very supportive. They are very supportive. I feel as much as they might not completely understand 100% what it is I'm doing, they don't completely understand, but they show support in every single way that they can. My mom, she's always praying for me. Before the events that I'm hosting, before I have a speaker session, she prays for me.
The journey to get into the field has its fair share of challenges.
There's number one, the bias that's already been there for quite a long time. I've experienced it at different capacities. Sometimes you meet somebody and they tell you maybe, oh, you're a woman and you're doing this. And you feel like it's a very backward thing, but imagine if that person is a recruiter somewhere or a boss somewhere and you're going into that interview as a woman. If they still have that mentality, then of course there's going to be that bias that comes with it.
Generally, anyone, if you start a data career with someone you left school with, like right now we're in the same trajectory, but 2 years down the line or 4 years down the line, you see my male counterparts earning more than me.
In 2017, studies revealed that there were 21,400 professional women employed in the science and technical fields, with their male counterparts being more than double at 52,400 professionals. These numbers reveal a stark gender disparity, a digital divide that threatens to limit Kenya and Africa's potential in the global tech arena.
I'm also trying to get more women into the tech space and into the communities that I'm in by actively going to a particular woman and like, this will be good.
With each line of code and every hackathon and event they organize, these girls are proving that they are more than numbers. They are the embodiment of innovation, strength, and the boundless potential of the nation.
We have a hackathon next week, our first event, and it's amazing.
Daisy's event was a success, and just one more step to the future she desires. What should be done to bridge the gender digital divide? IHUB's community manager William Kalibo is on the forefront of an organization that is creating space for women to explore their full potential.
We regularly host female communities such as the Women in Data community, meetups here at IHUB, the Women Tech Makers, which is an initiative under the Google developer groups, where these women who are either in university who have just finished come together to just learn various topics around software engineering, just learn from a peer-to-peer element. So
equality and the other one, and equity, yes. So of course you need to recognize that the specific challenges that come with being a woman, and companies and the people around should be able to address them such that you're never on the same level as your peer. Even me as a woman and another woman, we're not going to be on the same level, but different companies and the different societies that we're around should be able to bring that balance about such that we're able to perform at our highest capacity at work and even outside of work.
In August 2023, the government revealed plans to scale up the Ajira Digital program with a focus on more women in an effort to bridge the digital gender divide. The new approach, which includes the inclusion of Ajira for She Apprenticeship, which is a new program specifically for women, is aimed at bridging the gender digital divide. The Ajira program has seen over 350,000 young people imparted with digital skills, with 53% of them being young women. The future for them is promising, and they are not stopping anytime soon.
Who do you look at it and say, wow, that is what drives me sometimes?
Okay, it's three ladies, and then it's, have you watched Hidden Figures?
Yes, I'm watching.
Yes, those three ladies. I've watched that movie a million times. I even watched it this weekend, I think 2 days ago. So just when we were getting into Mashuja's period, and I was like, which movie can I watch? I watched Hidden Figures again. I really find it inspiring, and I find them inspiring. I've watched their documentaries as well, just to hear about their stories, and I feel like they really paved the way for us to be here.
And as the sun sets on the Nairobi skyline, it gives them an opportunity to dream even more. Brian Amwai, Lookuptv.
Kipindi ni ukulima ni mali na Manjoro. Kumbuka hapa ndipo unajifunza mambo mengi kuhusu ukulima. Kilimo ni uti wa mgongo wa nchi, na ukiwa na Njoro unajifunza. Kumbuka, angalia mwenyewe. Tunakuambia ukitaka kujua tips za ukulima, ungana na sisi kwenye Lookuptv. Every Sunday unatukuta pale saa 10, tunakuonesha kuhusu ukulima. Ukulima wa mimea, ukulima wa ng'ombe, ukulima wa kuku, ukulima wa mbuzi na yote ambayo yanahusiana na ukulima. Kumbuka nini? Kipindi ni ukulima ni mali. Today we are at Precious Children's Home here at Dawn Home, and we've come to give out some food donations and have a good time with the children over some lunch.
My name is Jennifer Njero, the director of this children's home.
Tell us a bit about the children's home. How many kids do you have here?
Okay, I started this home in 2015 with about 6 kids. These kids are orphans, but some of them are orphans, some of them are from those needy families. Yes. And then I get them through the chief, the pastors, and friends who know about them. Yeah, I have 23 right now in the home. Okay, and then I have 5 in high school who are not here with us. You brought us lots of food. We didn't have food. We only had 1 bale of unga vugari, which only takes 3 days. It will be through. But the food that you brought us is a lot. We are so happy. Extra happy. And may you continue coming.
So of course, remember 25% of your Lotto ticket goes towards the Lotto Foundation, helps different charities across the nation.
Okay. So thank you so much to our players. We are able to do this because of you. So we are very thankful.
Every time you play Lotto, 25% goes to the Lotto Foundation, which supports our fellow Kenyans through various causes. Thank you for your help. Together, we are changing lives.
All right. Welcome back to Lookuptv. My name is Simba Elijah Charles Kiage. Now, I'm going to introduce you to something that is not a surprise. This year, there's one number that has shocked majority of Kenyans. Now, I'm going to pick a trend out of it. And these are the numbers. I just want to get spot on, because even as we start the show today, surprisingly, that number is changed. That's how bad it is. So this morning, I want to start like this then, that road accidents this year, we're doing an average of around 5,000 annually as a country, and that's bad for a country. But then, what is not going to change is these numbers we're getting this year. Currently as it is, when you read reports from the National Police Service, they're telling you that we're already in the 2,000 mark. Plus, yesterday, we at Lookuptv reported 2 more accidents that involved 2 more fatalities. So that is another addition on that number. But then, have you noted that in majority of these accidents, there is a pattern? In this pattern, you're going to find out that lorries are quite involved in them. And so you look at it and then you wonder, why are lorries synonymous in these accidents that we're reporting in the country? it's not going to be long before you hear another accident of involving a lorry. So find that long distance trucking or driving essentially introduces a thing that we have to talk about: fatigue. Now you ask yourself, in the country, and even these routes that we do know are synonymous with a long distance trucking, especially the Mombasa-Nairobi route that is full of trucks, do they have a place, a proper place, number one, where they can go check in, sleep, take a proper shower, have their vehicles checked properly and professionally, wake up the next morning, take your breakfast, get into your vehicle, fuel it, and continue with your journey? That if we don't look at it from that perspective, then we're getting it wrong. So this morning, I want to introduce you to a company that's already thought about this problem. That it is a real estate function that extends to long distance trucking in this country. And they are saying we start doing that, then we're making proper steps to getting solutions to the biggest problem that is facing the country currently as it is. This company, Superior Homes. This morning then, we are privileged to talk about something that's going to get introduced to you shortly, that is currently at Sultan Hamoud. We're going to talk about it, but let me then introduce the guest who's joining us this morning. We do have a Beatrice Mwangi, who is the estate manager, Superior Homes Kenya. Beatrice, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's been a minute. I mean, you're one of those people that I know, and I've never hosted you personally in our studio.
Yeah.
Karibu sana. This is us. So, for any other person who knows Superior Homes, your household name when it comes to frontier real estate business in the country,
Yeah.
somebody's going to wonder, how are you in this conversation for road safety and solutions to do with road safety? Let's introduce you like that.
Okay. Just to give you a brief, Superior Homes Kenya Limited is a real estate firm. We are the leading master plan developer in the region and in East Africa. Our core focus was definitely in real estate developments, mixed-use developments. Green Park at the river is one of our flagship developments, and we've been successful in that.
Yes.
Looking at just how the situation is in the country, specifically towards accidents and fatalities that we're currently experiencing. Remember, these are our families, these are our husbands, these are our brothers, these are our sisters, and we need to be able to ensure whichever way we develop real estates within the country, we need to make sure that we are also accommodative to the roads, we are accommodative to those families. So in that aspect, I'd say we have the capacity to ensure that we take the step up, making sure that we develop not just real estate firms, but also make sure that we also develop areas and sections where we are accommodating, employing these brothers and sisters, making sure that they are comfortable.
Yes,
so we have one of our developments, which we are proud of, Superstop project. And that is where we want to start off to make sure that we address this issue.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I got to learn of this particular project last year. And I looked at where you're developing it. Let's talk about Sultan Hamoud, where this project is going to come up. I mean, what is special about Sultan Hamoud? And why did you decide to start with the Mombasa-Nairobi route?
Okay. In the country, a lot of the accidents that are happening on our roads are along the northern corridor.
Yes.
In fact, statistics from Nairobi, the NTSA governor, they have more than 30% of accidents happening along the northern corridor.
Yes.
And based on that, we looked at the route, and exactly we are along the northern corridor as well, starting off at Athi River. Sultan Hamoud is not far away from Athi River, in fact, an hour and a half drive from Athi River. So based on our location and looking at the trucks that are passing through our location, we have more than 300 trucks parking along the highway, alone at Sultan Hamoud on a daily basis.
What's that, 300?
Yes.
On a daily basis?
On a daily basis, you'll find more than 300 trucks along the road.
Because they don't have any other place to park.
There's an informal stopover But we need to be proactive to make sure that we create a formal, proper structure and proper development to accommodate these truck drivers.
Yes.
Yes.
Which opens up to the next question. When you figure a super stop, it's not a permanent area where I'm coming to live as a driver. I'm passing by, so I need to go in and rest. Could you paint the picture? What are these drivers going to meet when they finally get to the super stop?
Okay, so the Super Stop project is a European concept. We've designed it in such a way that it emulates what the European Union are guiding, most of these transport organizations when it comes to safety.
Yes.
We have partnered with Total petrol stations, so we have a fuel station. We have accommodation, small single rooms fully equipped to give 30-40 minutes rest. If you want to sleep overnight, you can do that. We have eateries, accommodation, making sure that the drivers are getting, affordable meals, 150, 250 shillings worth of meals, so that, they don't dip too deep into their pockets. We have washrooms, we have showers. The driver can actually just stop, take a shower for 15 minutes, leave. So the element of the Super Stop project is the slogan we're actually going by is shop, rest, go. So that you make sure you stop, even if for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, so that we are able to accommodate the drivers and they're able to rest within that station.
I'd like to imagine that you've already looked at this gap in the market.
Yes.
Have you done your background research whether drivers exactly do need this? And when you speak to majority of them, and these are companies, trucking companies are actually companies, is this something that they are open to getting into in the country?
I believe we are heading there, and the drivers are seeing the need for it.
Yes.
If you look at just the statistics alone and us understanding why these road accidents are